Welcome to Tea with the Experts and Dr. Leah Merle, your premier destination for mental health insights, empowerment, and inspiration. Led by the passionate therapist and counsellor educator, Dr. Leah Merle, this interview-style podcast delves deep into diverse themes with top-notch experts in the field. Beginning with the What Is series, from anxiety, trauma to resilience and mindfulness. We sip our way through captivating conversations, psychological insights, shedding light on the complexities of mental wellness and what it means to be a human being. Each episode serves up a refreshing blend of knowledge, empathy, and empowerment, aiming to destigmatize mental health issues and raise awareness in an engaging and approaching manner. So grab your favorite cuppa and get ready to step yourself into transformative conversations that will leave you feeling uplifted and enlightened. Subscribe now and join the movement to break down barriers and foster a more compassionate world.
Welcome to Dr. Leah Merle and Tea with the Experts. This is Celebrity Grief Uncovered, where we explore the emotional and psychological impact of losing a public figure. So today we're going to delve into a unique but powerful type of grief, celebrity grief. So what happens when somebody we've never met, like Liam Payne from One Direction, suddenly dies, passes away, and why does it feel so personal, right? It does. In this episode, I'll be reflecting on Liam Payne's tragic death and the complex emotion surrounding it. So many fans, it was devastating for them, friends, family, and exploring how public mourn and why they feel so deeply is really important. So let's start by talking about what Megan Devine, an author of It's Okay That You're Not Okay, says about grief. So she reminds us that grief is not a problem to be solved. It's actually an experience to be carried with us. So when somebody like Liam dies, it's not about trying to fix the feelings of sadness or make sense of them. It's more about allowing ourselves to truly, fully experience the grief, lean into it. And that is super hard when the person we're grieving wasn't a close personal friend, somebody we followed and admired from afar, from a distance. So celebrities like Liam become part of our emotional landscape. So his music, his openness about mental health issues, and his connection to his fans created a bond that really transcends the typical boundaries of fame. As Megan Devine says, grief is love in its most wild and painful form. And for many, the love we felt for Liam through his music and his journey is now felt as grief within the self, within the person. So why do we feel this grief so deeply? It's a great question. So Liam Payne wasn't just a musician. He was somebody who shared really his vulnerabilities, his life, his lived experience with us, and his struggles with mental health and addiction and public pressure. They were all out there in the open, making him much more relatable in a way to, fans didn't just root for his success. What they did was they rooted for his survival. And his death reminds us, in the words of Megan Devine, that some things cannot be fixed. They can only be carried. We can't fix the fact that Liam's gone. All we can do is carry the pain of that loss individually and collectively as a whole. Megan Devine also writes that acknowledging grief doesn't mean being swallowed by it. It means letting really the truth of the loss exist without needing to be anything else. So when somebody like Liam passes, there's often a rush to maybe rationalize the grief. Why am I so affected by this? As though we need to maybe give permission to feeling this way. truth is, we don't need permission to grieve from anybody. We're allowed to feel this loss deeply because it's real. It's a loss of connection, of memories, of a person who made a difference in our lives through art and their art form. One of the complexities of celebrity grief is the public nature of it. So we experience the loss with millions of other people, which really can amplify the constant media coverage, the flood of social media posts. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel bombarding. And Divine reminds us that grief is not a tidy, linear process. It's a natural response to loss. And each of us experience it in our own unique way. So it means that there's no right or wrong way to grieve Liam Payne's passing. So whether it's through sharing your feelings on social media, online, listening to his music, or simply just sitting with your sadness, leaning into it and feeling it. So what can we do with these feelings? I think first of all, we need to give ourselves permission, number one, to grieve. So as Megan Devine says, your pain is not a problem to be solved. It's actually something to be honored. It means you're feeling. Grieving Liam's death doesn't mean that we're overly emotional or irrational. It means we're human and we're having a human experience. His music was there for us in moments of joy and sadness and everything in between. We're mourning not just a person, but also the connection to those memories. And that's really important to pay attention to. Second, we can find comfort in community. Megan often speaks about the power of being seen in our grief, being heard. Grief shared is grief lessened, not because it's taken away, but because the weight is carried collectively together. So whether we're engaging with fellow fans online, or whether you're speaking with a loved one who understands the sharing of that grief, it really allows us to process it in more of a collective and communal way. Lastly, Megan reminds us that healing doesn't mean erasing the pain. We don't get over it or move on from grief. We move forward and through it. So Liam Payne will always hold a place in our hearts of his friends. Moving forward with his memory doesn't mean forgetting, but rather integrating the loss into our lives in a way that honors the impact that he had through One Direction in his music. So as we close today's episode, I want to honor the life and the legacy of Liam Payne, his music, his vulnerability, and his strength and resilience, really facing life's challenges. He made a lasting impression on millions of people. And while his death was tragic, we can hold space for our own grief while celebrating the ways in which he touched our lives. Thank you for joining me today as we explored the nature of celebrity grief, using Liam Payne's death as a poignant example of how deeply public loss can affect us. As always, remember that it's okay to feel. It's okay to grieve and to carry that loss in your own way. I'm Dr. Leah Merle, and this has been Celebrity Grief Uncovered. So until next time, please take care of yourself and each other. Be well. Bye for now.